Before I go any further, I want to show you that I did install switch machines up under here and touch toggles. And they work great. And I will tell you that these switch machines are probably 10 or more years old. And the touch toggles, I've probably had these in operation for probably 7 or 8 years from Barrett Hill Touch Toggles, Kevin Hunter. Always appreciate his great product. Got these set up over here. And of course you're seeing this goofy stuff here now, and I'll explain that. So happy New Year. I'm back working on the layout. I cleared it off and I'm getting ready to weather the rails. So I'm not going to do some silly time lapse because I've done this before in other videos right here on the channel. So I'm going to use the same techniques that I've used in those other videos on this. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to try to get it done. Right, that's about all I can do this evening. On the peninsula, I have the white base coat on the ties. And the reason I do this is because this is going to give it a highlight. And when you dumb it down with a darker color, it's going to look like natural wood. Right? So I featured this in a couple of other videos. One is about 7 or 8 years ago, and it was weathering track, and it was O scale. But you can apply this to any other scale. And then there's a more recent one that I was doing something in N scale, and that's a couple of years ago. So if you go back through the videos, and I know there's over 100 videos on this channel. By the way, just an aside, YouTube let me know the other day that our channel was 10 years old. It said happy birthday. I was like, happy birthday. And I had started this channel right around Christmas time in 2013. So as of right this minute, this channel's 10 years old. But here tomorrow, I'm going to work with weathering chalks, and these are my chalks. And as I want to say again, I want to say again that this is featured in a previous video, but that's the chalk that I'm going to be using. All right, this is the next day, and this white base coat should be dry. And I'm trying to work this in during print jobs and things like that. So it's kind of hit or miss where I get to work on it, but I am at least making progress, right? All right, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail here, nor am I going to film this whole thing because it's just kind of crazy. But basically I have my rust colored chalk here, and this is a mixture of a bright orange and black to dull it down a little bit. It's just ground up chalk, and this is alcohol, and it doesn't matter. You could use any brand of alcohol, any percentage, and get yourself a little tray. And basically what I'm going to do is dump some down into here and make a soupy mixture with it. And again, this was outlined in a couple of other videos here on the channel. So if you go back through it and look for it, you can find it. Blend it into a soupy mixture just like that. Almost like a paste. And then here I'm just going to paint it on the rails, just like that. And I know it looks silly. You want it to be a paste, but you want it to be slightly watery. And then we can take this in here. Again, do not worry about getting it on the ties. I'm just going to keep going on till I get everything covered. And then I can go back and touch up. And what I'm going to be touching up is this right here. You see the tie plates are covered, but it's also on the rail. Then I'll go in with a white brush and clean that up and make the edges look nice. So that does it for the rust colored chalk. I've got everything covered, I think. So this looks like a clown show. But let's take a look here. Now what I'm going to do is go back with white and touch up all those ties. All right, so to clean these ties up, I'm just going to kind of dry brush this in there, and it's kind of hard to do while I'm holding the camera. But I'm just going to go up to the tines like that, not make a big fuss, just to get it kind of squared off so there's a little better detail there. Okay, that was a lot of work. I probably have an hour and a half in this. All the rust color is on. The ties are cleaned up a bit. And you see how I just go to that line there. And once we put the chalk on there to darken it, it's going to look nice. All right, everything's dry now. And I'm going to do a little departure from what I normally do just to save a little time. This is enamel, black enamel paint. And I got some paint thinner here. And what I'm going to do is make a murky solution, like a weathering solution that I do in some of the other videos. And I'm going to hit the ties with them. I'm just going to hit the ties. And then once I go back over it with the chalk, it's going to give it a nice texture. This is pretty quick. You can make this as thick or thin as you want and do several coats if you want. If you can hear me, this will help push any of the solution down into the cracks and crevices. And I'm kind of in a hurry. See here how, as it dries, there's just enough of that enamel paint and paint thinner on there to get it into the cracks and crevices. And that's how I blend it in. All right, this is where I'm at after I've dusted with black chalk dust. I tried to blend everything in so where it's just a hint of rust coming through there. Once I put ballast in here and I spray it, it'll seal it all in, and it'll also take some of that chalk down into the cracks and crevices. If you notice, some of the ties have light spots on them, and that's fine because ties are not one solid color. Dirt colored paint is a base coat. And I probably will fill this all in with dirt because that's what it would have looked like when they first built it, right? It would have just been dirt before they built anything. Here I have my sifted dirt. This is ground up dirt. This is older. I've had this quite a while. It's almost a sandy color dirt, light color, almost baseball diamond. This is more of a rugged, dirty, not clay, shale, wet shale. It'll dry later. But this is the box I got from over on our property. And I'm grinding this stuff up in here. And then what I've done is I've sifted it. And here's the leftovers. Kind of a rocky mix. It's shale. So the shale powder, I guess we're going to call it shale powder, I'm mixing in with this in a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, see, it's a little bit darker. It's just right. This is a 1-to-1 mixture of glue and paint. So dirt colored paint and Elmer's white glue. All right, I have a layer of masking tape on the track, and that's just to keep splatters of the glue mixture off of the track. And really, this is all I'm doing here is taking a small spoon of it. Dirt is down, and I've cleaned off the edge of the ties. Left a little bit on there, but now I'm spritzing this with some hairspray. What this does is seals down some of the loose grains. It's not embedding it like it's like the be-all end-all, but it's just enough to keep it from flying off. Now this is that light colored dirt I had. I'm kind of sifting it down. See how it's real fine down there? And this keeps it rocky up here. You know what I mean? All right, on this industry spur, I don't know what it's going to be. I'm thinking maybe a cement plant or something like that. But I'm going to try that ballast I have. I'm going to try some of that there and see how it looks. Weathered, old industry track, that sort of thing, just sitting there with weeds and all that. You know, I feel like Bob Ross right now. Some happy little ballast. Oh, that's nice. I'm gonna try it left-handed. Looks nice. I'm just kind of getting the rocks off of the rail. After I spritz it, I can go back once it dries and pick out anything. But it's a nice look. Nice dirty look. Now I'm using the hairspray, again, like I said, because this isn't a portable module, and I'm not really worried about any of the ballast coming off, but I just want to secure it just a little bit. All right, so on this section, what I've done is I've taken the lighter colored ballast I have, laid some down, and then the regular ballast, we're going to call that regular ballast, and I went along and sprinkled that in, and I built up the edges of the ties just to give a little height. So now this area, I'm just gonna sweep it through, and I can add all that I want, but I didn't want to put too much in. I don't want this to look like a class 1 main line running through the middle of Chicago. Gives it a nice dirty gritty look. I might build it up a little bit. And then before I spray some hairspray on here, which we're going to use as adhesive, I'm going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit and get loose grains out of there, I should say. So, but that looks pretty good. Remember, we have a lot of detailing to do as far as we can sprinkle some black chalk in there, give it some dirty areas. Look like an area where there was a leak or something from a locomotive or a car, maybe a built-up area where a hopper was sitting. Again, I sound like Bob Ross. Happy little ballast. The base scenery and track weathering is done on this side, and now I can start detailing building structures and having fun. Track does not look bad at all. I like that shot there. And this is an old DC Red Caboose GP7. And at some point I'm going to put a decoder in there and clean her up, maybe paint it. I'm ready to keep rolling.